Francisco. I'm speaking with the Executive Co-Chairman, Raza Bokhari, and the CEO, Rupert Haynes. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you, Gabriel, for having us here.
So we wanted to get started off with the company is very focused on cannabis. However, there are some clinical trials talked about. So can you give us a rundown of what the company is working on?
Sure. So FSD Pharma is building a largest indoor hydroponic grow facility for medicinal cannabis. We are outside Toronto, an hour outside Toronto, in Cobourg, in a feel-good town. And we certainly are feeling very good about it, that we are creating some jobs. And we are situated in an old cheese craft factory, and we bought that facility in about 2 years ago, and actually 5 years ago, in 2013. But the build-out, our license came in 2 years ago, and the build-out started. And fully developed, we will be the world's largest facility, covering 3.9 million square feet. We went public in May of 2018 and raised about $53 million. And through that raise, we made some strategic investments. Specific answer to your question, part of those investments were in a company called SciCann that is running some clinical trials looking at the role of cannabinoid in the GI tract, particularly irritable bowel syndrome and ulcerative colitis. And I also understand that they have some applications they are looking in the cardiovascular system. So there is an investment that we have done in a company, and that company is also eventually in the near future is looking to go public. So our investment thesis is making a strategic investment in relevant verticals that also are either public or are looking to go public. And that has worked really well for us. As a company, we are debt-free. Our facility has a value of over $100 million, I think $105 million to be precise, a valuation that was done a few weeks ago. And we have over 20 million or so still in the bank. This year, we are projecting to have top-line revenue of north of 20 million, and in 2020, we should have top-line revenue which are north of 75 million. As part of our strategic investment initiatives, we want to also add to our portfolio a platform company that is advancing research and development in synthetic cannabinoid space and doing FDA-approved trials and bringing certain drugs to market in the future. That is why we are here at JP Morgan at this, the Mecca of biotech arena, meeting with potential targets and also meeting with certain banks to raise some more funds for that initiative.
Thank you. So, as you mentioned, financing can be kind of an issue for some. However, you did say that your company is debt-free. So what is it looking on the financing front currently?
For us, we have been fortunate. Our investors in the first round, when we did our first round, was at 3.8 cents. I think it was $19 million. When we went our first IPO on the Canadian Stock Exchange was at 9 cents. Our stock today is at 36 cents. So our investors have remarkable returns. In the fall of last year, when all cannabis-related stocks of companies like Canopy, Tilray, that were shooting through the roof, we also did really well. I think our stock was up to 94 cents and our market cap crossed $1 billion. But under compression, while other companies investors are underwater. Our investors are still laughing to the bank, and they are still sending us very happy notes during the holidays. We got a lot of good Christmas cards, and we're still getting Happy New Year cards. Even I think delayed mail is coming to us. So we really have good investors. And for us, we have received good response from institutional investors, because our interest now is to do a PIPE for our strategic potential investment into a platform company to advance synthetic cannabinoid research and development of these medications.
Thank you. So something that always comes up on the biotech and pharma front for cannabis is the purity. Now, how can your company kind of attest to this?
Purity of the extraction process?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to probably yield to Rupert Haynes, our newly minted CEO, formerly from GW Pharmaceutical, who also has more credentials of pharmaceutical background. But the extraction process is complicated, but we also have a company, World-Class Extraction, which has patent pending some process that we are also using in our own company. We are invested in it, at least the founders are. I'm personally also invested in that company, so we do have some differentiated technology that we are using, and we believe that our extraction process of the CBD is quite good. But I'll probably ask Rupert to probably shed some light on that.
Yeah, and I am the new kid on the block, so very kindly Dr. Bokhari's put his faith in the board of FSD and the founding partners in me to come on board from GW to help build out the pharmaceutical arm of FSD Pharma. So I keep saying thank you, but thank you for putting your faith in me. It's a very exciting prospect, and I kind of have come with a heritage of classical pharma. 30 years, but coming down to sort of more specialist pharma, and the last 4 years has been at GW, so immersed myself in cannabinoid medicine, and then over the last 2 years, development, so I know it sort of very well, and that's my sort of USP, I guess, which is why I'm here. To answer your question about purity is a very, very big question mark around a lot of the manufacturers and growers around, US, Canada, simply because if you're growing it, you have to use pesticides. If you're growing it outside, the cannabis plant is particularly good at sucking up heavy metals and toxins, and that's a big issue. And there's always a question mark of purity from botanical sources. So as Raza said, our intention is, from a pharmaceutical point of view, to use synthetic cannabinoids and not grow it for our pharmaceutical purposes. But from the Coburg site that will be providing medical marijuana for dispensed use, we have, as we said, working with world-class extraction to minimise the toxic content of any of the produce we have. Hydroponically growing it minimises it, we can control it in a very good standardised fashion. Leading to pharmaceuticals, though, as I said, it's going to be synthesised.
Let me just add to that, so specifically to your question. Well, Health Canada, number one, it's a regulated, it's an indoor facility, it's hydroponic. So the standardization process of Health Canada is quite par excellence. They do take some time. They are overloaded. It's a new industry, groundbreaking. But there is a standardized process. These are GNP standards in which our facility is in place. And I also believe there are competitors, top-tier competitors like Canopy and Tilray have similar practices in place. Our grow partner is Oxley. Oxley is a company also publicly traded on the Canadian Stock Exchange, is formed by the original founder of Canopy Growth, Chuck Raffici, and the chief architect. So in particular, our expertise that we have is state of the art. Also, we use certain lighting indoor lighting that we are deploying in our rooms that we also believe is giving us a high yield, because our entire process is geared towards developing the yield for medicinal uses. Even that while in Canada there is a recreational use for cannabis, it is legal, and sale of that would certainly generate revenues. But our company's strategic interest is to focus on the medicinal cannabis space for Canada and be a supplier to 20 other countries in Europe, and also there are doors opening up in the Far East where we are a supplier through channel partners, and we are building some relationships. So fully matured, this is a $134 billion market size. So even with as the time passes, and this is going to become a commodity play, because we are farmers, indoor growers. Farmers usually don't make money, but nonetheless, if you differentiate as a farmer and focus on the medicinal space, where we want to focus, so we believe that we have a differentiating difference. But before all good times and all good things come to an end, before that comes to an end, we want to make this strategic investment, add to our portfolio a platform company that has a portfolio, a pipeline of robust applications. So somehow, at one end, we are trying to be a canopy growth 2.0, and we want to catch the dust of GW Pharmaceutical, a pathway that they have opened up, but we believe that one is alone, two are 11, and we want to complement and strengthen and broaden the bandwidth of effort that GW has begun the process, and there is room for more to come and play. And I think that there are a lot of diseases, and being a physician by basic training, I have enough understanding to be dangerous, but there are many diseases that don't have a cure, but the treatment is limited to use of steroids. And cannabinoid molecule has a role in particularly in the diseases of the central nervous system, musculoskeletal disorders, disorders of sleep, certain sleep disorders, certain skin conditions, and also there is better treatment options for treatment of opioid addiction, a scourge that is common in America and most of industrialized world. And since I come from South Asia, and I believe that opioid addiction is a pandemic. It touches every part of the world. So a cannabinoid-based application that can help treat opioid addiction in a better way, I think so has a lot of application. So while there are many options, but we will start with some very targeted set of conditions, pick those, hope to find some investors to back us in phase 2 A or B trials. So we don't want to be starting preclinical trials, phase 1. That is actually, I don't think so today. Investors are that patient, and also we are also entrepreneurs that suffer from attention deficit disorder, so we want to also be rushed in delivering results. And in nearly 30 years, anything that I have done, I have produced remarkable results and given triple-digit returns on investment on all of those things, and we're hoping not to go wrong this time, especially in a groundbreaking industry.
Thank you. Are there any other final points that you want investors to know about the company?
Watch this space for 2019. It's going to be an exciting year for FSD Pharma, certainly.
Just to pick on that, I think 2019 for Canadian cannabis companies, I think it is going to be a year of revenue. Companies that will demonstrate that they have revenue on their top line, those will, because there are many, and there will be like any new industry, there is a big graveyard. Many fall, many some will implode. There will be landmines, but those companies that would demonstrate and generate top line revenue, they will be the ones that would lead the charge. And if any can show bottom line some earnings, I think those will become the messiahs. But I don't think so 2019 is the year for earnings for the cannabis companies, but I think 2019 companies will be judged on the top line revenue producing, and we know that we will have some reasonably good top line revenues in 2019.
Thank you. And are there any other final points that you want to make?
No, I don't think so. You've made some good questions about the purity as a big topic, and I think what we're seeing is around that. There's the testing of different cannabinoids hasn't been as yet refined. I think that'll be a key differentiator in the future. The consumers will become much more savvy and aware of, differentiating different products and brands from one another, which is one of our USPs out of Cobra.
Thank you. So thank you both for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.